Once again, the St. Louis Cardinals are reminded of what might have been in their loss against the Miami Marlins. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio, the podcast on X as well at LO_Cardinals. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving you all of the info about the birds on the bat. This episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5HEWin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. It does exclude the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. All right, so YouTube people, you see it. It's back. The ugly shirt, the series winning shirt. There it is. Do we pop the collar today in excitement for the victory? As ugly as this shirt in, popping the collar makes it even worse. It's awful. Anyway, but it does signal that the Cardinals won a series. They did, and they went for the sweep against the Marlins on Monday. They lost the ball game, though, or not Monday, on Wednesday. Lost the ball game, though, by a score of 6-2. A lot of the same issues that have plagued them this season popped up once again, but it was also a not-so-subtle reminder of what might have been as the team stared down their former prospect, Sandy Alcantara, who was starting for the Miami Marlins. For those who are not familiar, let me take you back. We're going to go back in time real quick. Check the flux capacitor. We're going back. Sandy was part of the deal that sent himself, Zach Gallen, Magneuris Sierra, and pitcher Daniel Castano to the Marlins in exchange for outfielder Marcell Ozuna back in December of 2017, almost 8 years ago, which is hard to believe that it's been that long. At the time, the Cardinals were looking to add some thump to their lineup. They wanted a right-handed bat. The farm system was nice and sturdy back then. Things were pretty well stocked. So they were willing to make a deal. And if we go back, the number one prospect in the system at the time for the Cardinals was right-handed pitcher Alex Reyes, who was one of the top right-handed pitching prospects in all of baseball. Some argued that he was the number one right-handed pitching prospect in baseball. And as you know, injuries derailed his career. It was very, very unfortunate because that dude was nasty. Carson Kelly, catcher now for the Cubs, was number 2. Some argued he was the top pitching prospect at the time. First-round pick Luke Weaver in at number 3. He's having a heck of a year with the New York Yankees. Has had a career resurgence, if you will, going into the bullpen. Delvin Perez was number 4. Well, yeah, everyone missed on that one, didn't they? Harrison Bader in at number 5, now with the Phillies. Sandy was number 6. Sierra was number 7. Jack Flaherty with the Tigers in at number 8. Dakota Hudson, number 9. Not sure where he is anymore. Junior Fernandez in at number 10. Not sure where he is anymore. But they also had Edmundo Sosa's with the Phillies, Austin Gomber, who was part of the deal for Nolan Arenado, Randy Arozarena, who's doing good things again in Seattle, Dylan Carlson's with Baltimore right now, Jake Woodford, not sure if he's in the league anymore, Jordan Hicks, who was part of the deal for Rafael Devers, so he's in Boston, Marco Gonzalez, I think, is retired at this point, and then you got Zach Gallen and Johan Oviedo, who just pitched really well for the Pirates. So you look at that list, and it is littered with current and former Major League Baseball players. Like, that's the kind of system the Cardinals used to put together and used to have out there. A lot of those guys, as you can tell, are pitchers. So at the time, the team was dealing away from what was a strength at the time to add a legit middle-of-the-order bat, a Silver Slugger winner, a Gold Glove winner, which is hilarious still because we saw Marcell Ozuna play defense. You're like, what? And he was in his prime. What was he, 26 years old at the time? You know, you got to give to get, and the Cardinals were willing to give up some assets there to go get that particular bat. And again, you have this farm system that at the time was chugging right along and just kept churning out Major League Baseball players. And so why would that ever stop, right? One write-up about this trade said that Alcantara was known primarily for the elite velocity. Fastball averaged 98.4 during an 8-game relief stint in the majors this season and has hit triple digits often in the past. Breaking ball needs work. His changeup could become above average, but isn't there yet. His control of those offerings has been suspect as well, which could keep him from filling a starting role in the big leagues. He has the stuff to be a promising reliever right away. Okay, that's not like this overwhelmingly glowing, review of what Sandy Alcantara was going to be at some point. Then you go to his stats. 22 years old at the time of the trade, 4.31 ERA, 1.43 whip, 106 strikeouts, 54 walks, and 125 and a third innings for Double-A. It's not even in Memphis. Made his major league debut in September, exclusively out of the bullpen, gave up 4 runs while fanning 10 and walking 6 over 8 1/3. He also made 5 appearances in the Arizona Fall League and played some winter ball in the Dominican Republic. The Marlins are hoping he can iron out the control woes. When this deal happened, because I know we all go back to it and, we're like, ugh. But when it happened, I don't remember a lot of Cardinal fans complaining. I really don't. Now, I wasn't covering the team as in-depth as I do nowadays, but as a fan at the time when it happened, I was excited. I think a lot of people were excited because Marcell Ozuna was a monster bat for the Marlins at the time. And I wanted Christian Yelich. I think a lot of people did. And if memory serves, I thought the Cardinals asked about Yelich, and the Marlins said they weren't going to deal him. And then eventually they decided to deal him. He ends up going to Milwaukee and, goes crazy for a couple years before some injuries got a hold of him, but still doing very well with them. They also tried to get Giancarlo Stanton from the Marlins. He was the reigning MVP, and Stanton didn't want to go to St. Louis. He turned it down, didn't want to be there, said no offense to the organization. They win and stuff, but didn't think it was a good fit. Had like a couple of different cities he was willing to go to. Ends up in New York, which is where he wanted to be instead. Either way, they get Ozuna, who just didn't pan out the way they had hoped. Meanwhile, Sandy Alcantara goes on to become a 2-time All-Star, figures out those control issues, makes his changeup ungodly, and becomes a Cy Young winner in 2022. Zach Gallen goes on to become an All-Star. He gets Cy Young votes in 3 seasons, got MVP votes in 2023. Not having a great year this year in his free agent season, but we'll see what he ends up getting in the offseason. But obviously, this trade just did not work out the way the Cardinals had hoped. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't pan out. Sometimes they just don't work. Trades are always a risk. And even though the Cardinals have gotten the better of a lot of teams over the years, this was one that ended up working out for the Marlins instead. And fans point at this one and always want to destroy John Mozeliak for it. What an idiot. How did he not see into the future and know that these two guys were going to be so good that Ozuna wouldn't do what we thought he was going to do and flame out? Although he's put up some pretty big numbers in Atlanta with the Braves the last few seasons. But when you look at the stable of guys that they had at the time, the Major League roster had Carlos Martinez at the time, Michael Wacha. They had signed Miles Mikolas. That was the beginning of the Mikolas era. Adam Wainwright was coming back from surgery. You had Flaherty and Weaver and Dakota Hudson and Austin Gomber and Jordan Hicks. There was depth there. So much that they let Lance Lynn walk in free agency. They're like, nah, go ahead. The trade failed in that the Cardinals didn't win a championship. They don't play up to what was then the St. Louis standards in that first year with Ozuna. Matheny gets fired. Schilt takes over. 2019, they go to the NLCS. They get swept by the Washington Nationals, who would go on to become the champions. And that was the end of the Ozuna era in St. Louis. And, we'd be more than happy to let that die and not have to talk about it anymore. If not for the fact that we keep having to face Sandy Alcantara, and when we do, he constantly shoves against the Birds like he did again on Wednesday. So we're going to dive into Wednesday's game and talk about Sandy, and we'll talk about the struggles for Andre Pallante. It's all coming up here on Locked On Cardinals. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's, your 401ks, your properties, your investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's a big no-no. That is why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch will do the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals. You're going to get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So that's good. Subscriptions that you forgot you were paying for, we're going to take care of that. Monarch Money is going to help you out with that. And that's really where you're flushing a lot of money down the toilet. Like, that's where you're just like, I did not realize I'm still paying for that particular movie channel or something. They're going to help you out with that. You can link all your accounts to Monarch and immediately spot a few subscriptions you may not be using anymore. Canceling those alone will save you a lot of money each month. Monarch makes it simple to review those finances with your partner so you can both see the budgets, the goals, and spending activity all in one place. So don't let financial opportunity to slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X or TikTok anytime you want. Feedback, always welcome and encouraged. Let me know what you guys think about, what were you doing and what were your thoughts when that trade went down with the Marlins and the Cardinals? Were you excited? Did you care that they were trading away Alcantara and Gallen? Or were you more upset that Sierra got traded? Because I know people like Magniera Sierra as well. Yeah, he was a fun player. Didn't end up doing much of anything in the pros, but yeah, let me know what you guys thought about it. Wednesday's game. So after taking the first two games over Miami, they won the series, which is why I'm wearing this horrible shirt, with an 8-3 win on Monday and a 7-4 win on Tuesday. And in the process, they beat two very talented young arms that the Marlins have in Yuri Perez and Edward Cabrera. The Cardinals, once again, then had to face Sandy Alcantara, who he's had an uneven season. Let's put it that way. He's coming back from surgery in 2024. First half of the season was not all that great for Sandy, right? 7.22 first half ERA in 18 starts. And I remember in the spring that, the Marlins were raving how good Sandy looked. And they're like, dude, he looks just like he was when he was dominating the league back in 2022. He looks awesome. So we're really excited. And then when the real game started, it was a problem. He was walking a lot of guys, giving up a lot of contact, and there you go, 7.22 first half ERA. Things have improved drastically in the second half, where he had an ERA of 3.56, I think, after last night's game. And, no matter what is going on in the world, you can count on a couple of things: death, taxes, and the fact that when Alcantara faces the Cardinals, he's going to be on his A game. And he was once again on Wednesday night, just carving up the lineup like a Thanksgiving turkey. And this is nothing new for Sandy Alcantara. Coming into the game, he had made 7 starts against the Cardinals and had a 1.71 ERA against them. So it wasn't shocking that he just went right through them and had arguably his best game of the season against them. He goes 7 innings, gets a season high 9 strikeouts, throws a season high 114 pitches. I mean, we got the full Sandy, right? He allows just 2 runs. Only one of them's earned. Just 5 hits, had 1 walk. He was dominant. He was in control of this game for 95% of the outing. He had the 2 blips. There's a pass ball. He strikes out. Was it Pozo or Pahet? I think it was Pozo. He strikes him out and then gives up a single to Walker. And then Newt tagged him for that double, which was actually kind of a bummer for the Cardinals. Bad luck there because Walker would have scored because he runs so well. He was coming from first base. So that would have made it 3-2 if the ball hadn't hopped over the wall, but they only get 1. But it's 3-1 at that point. Willie tags him for a dinger in the 6th inning, just roped a hanging breaking ball that Sandy left over the dish, rips it out to left, 17th home run of the season to pull the Cardinals back within 2, but that is all that they would get against him and the Marlins. The only hit after the home run from Contreras was an infield single by Thomas Ajacey with 2 outs in the 6th inning. The Cardinals offense strikes out 13 times. It was miserable to watch. Contreras, Gorman, and Walker all strike out 3 times. All 3 of them get the hat trick. I mean, come on, boys. put the ball in play. At least, hey, Willie hit a home run, but 3 strikeouts, not all that fun. On the pitching side of things, another disappointing start for Andre Pallante, who just continues to not be able to find consistency with his pitches. And until he does, how do you keep him in as a member of what you want to be as a competitive starting rotation? I realize that the Cardinals probably aren't going anywhere for the playoffs this year, so there's really no need to pull him now because you still need arms. Somebody's got to start these games. But again, it's so frustrating to watch. 5 1/3 innings, which that's solid these days, but 5 runs, 8 hits. He walks 3, hits 2 dudes. And per usual, he puts the Cardinals in a hole. The offense is in a hole that they can't climb out of. He gives up 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and what do you know? It's another 3-0 deficit. It always seems to be the magic number, right? 3-0. If they get to that and the Cardinals are behind, they're kind of screwed. If you can hold it to 1, maybe even 2, you give them a fighting chance to get back in it. But it was going to be tough anyway without Contra on the mound the way he was throwing. But another 3-0 deficit early in the game. And it could have been worse, and it probably should have been worse. The Marlins reached base against him in every single inning, and he had to escape not 1 but 2 different bases loaded jams where the Marlins could have really blown things open, got a few strikeouts, and got out of those innings. But it could have been much worse. But the facts are the facts. The Cardinals are now 1-9. 1-9 in his last 10 starts. And just in the month of August, he's 0-4. The ERA is at 9. 9. Since the All-Star break, he's 1-6. The ERA is 7.22. And I was getting some flack online because I was like, you just never know what Pallante you're going to get, and tonight it wasn't the good version. And people were like, this dude hasn't been really good in a while. And I'm like, yeah, it has been that way. I always remember the games that he does pitch well. And you're like, okay, see, there he is. Really good games against the Pirates. And I know it was a while back, July 1st. 1 hit, 7 shutout innings. Cardinals still lost that game 1-0. Then, ironically, he locked up the Marlins back on July 28th with another 1 hit, 7 shutout inning performance. But other than that, it has been awful, just awful. And you could hear it in the voice of manager Ali Marmol in the clubhouse after the game because he is forever the optimist, right? He's not ever going to say anything about bashing his own players. That's not what he does. But after the game, he's like, the ball was coming out of his hand well, but how he handled some of the other aspects of the game kind of led to some frustration when you look at the running game and the stolen bases and the walks and some of them being non-competitive. He battled through it at the end of the day, but we just need to continue to get better. At the end of the day, we have to clean up the running game stuff and some of the non-competitive walks. The not being able to hold on runners, I don't get it, guys. I don't understand. It is mind-boggling to me. And it feels like it happens to the Cardinals almost every game. Stats say otherwise, but it feels like it because it's so, like when it happens, you're just like, dude, again? These runners, they just take off and the pitcher just never even looks at them. Just lets them, yep, go ahead, you can have them. And I don't know how that happens. I don't remember when playing the game of baseball, I don't remember where it was like, hey, you know what you should do here? Just don't look at the runners. Don't acknowledge them. Just pretend they're not there. Just let them run around. I don't remember a coach ever telling me to just let that happen. Like you vary your deliveries when you're throwing from the stretch. Sometimes you pause longer than other times. Sometimes you slide step. There are different ways to keep the runners closer and not let them just take off whenever the hell they want. And I don't know how this happens, but it's something that's got to be better moving forward. And it's not just Andre Pallante. It's the whole pitching staff needs to be sat down and instead of learning how to cover first base for the 9 billionth time, maybe work on that instead. That's something I would like to see the Cardinals clean up. I hope Pallante can be better moving forward. I really do. Because there's times where you see that he's got some effectiveness. And when he's on and you see the other team beating the ball into the ground and getting this and the sinkers working, you can see how he can be effective. But There's no way, like as of right now, looking forward to 2026, that you could just give him a spot in the rotation and say, well, you're in. There's got to be some sort of competition. It can't continue, right? I know they got injuries, which sucks, that have cost them some of the starters that they have in the minor leagues, but they got to figure something out, some sort of upgrade, because you can't live like this. Sonny, Libby, McGreevy, those three are in. They're ready to rock and roll for next season. So you got two holes that you need to fill. Quinn Matthews obviously should be in line to make the jump to the major leagues next year. Maybe he makes it up this year. Pitched really well again in his last outing, had a tough luck loss where Memphis just didn't get any runs for him. But he's been much better. We had that bumpy start to the season, injuries, and things have looked so much better for Quinn Matthews recently. So obviously he's a guy that we want to talk about. Tekoa Roby was a guy we were hoping for. He's done. He's out for the year. Probably not going to pitch next year. Cooper Jerpy's out. That was another guy that maybe you wanted to see. Some Robertson's out. Maybe Kyle Leahy, someone they can stretch out. Gordon Graceffo, maybe. I don't know how they feel about him. What Zach Thompson's still trying to come back from his injury from a first-round pick. Is that something that they'd entertain just to see if he's still got anything left in that arm? Can Chaim Bloom move some guys and get some starters into the fold for next year? Will they spend money on some upcoming free agents? There are some decent names that are going to be available that aren't going to command top dollar contracts or long-term contracts that they should kick the tires on. So we'll see. But you just can't give Andre Pallante a job next year in the starting rotation. He's got to earn it. The boys are going to face the Rays tonight for the start of a 3-game series. We're going to preview that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime-flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. It's perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with your friends, and it's a hole-in-one for your energy game for sure. So whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, end of the week here, or, you're probably dragging a little bit, looking forward to the weekend. So 5-Hour Energy Transfusion will do the trick for you. Delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. I was just in a tournament this Saturday, and one of the guys in the foursome, Sebastian is his name, hit a tee shot that skipped off the water twice and went over and landed in the fairway. We had to use the hole because it was a scramble too. We had to use that shot on the hole because it gave us the best angle for the green. But crazy stuff and another great memory. And that's the idea when it comes to golf and when it comes to, the energy transfusion from 5-Hour Energy. It's about good times with good people and good flavors. So now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy Snap and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com. For full rules and entry, no purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, where you get local analysis on a national scale. You can find it on the Locked On MLB YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcast. So the Tampa Bay Rays are playing at the Yankees minor league stadium this year in Florida after their stadium got damaged during the hurricanes. This ballpark is made to be like Yankee Stadium as far as the dimensions of the ballpark go, which means a lot of offense normally in the games there. The offenses usually do well, so perhaps the Cardinals can continue what we saw in the games on Monday and Tuesday against the Marlins before they ran into the buzzsaw known as Sandy Alcantara on Wednesday. But they were doing well, man. They were taking good at-bats. They were bunting, and they were getting some just a lot of singles. They were just putting the ball in play, finding holes, and hopefully they'll be able to do that again. And some of those line shots that, were falling into the gap or landing on the warning track, they're going to go out at this park that they're going to be playing in for the next 3 days. Sonny Gray will get the nod tonight against Joe Boyle. My advice to you, Sonny, keep the ball down because it flies at the stadium. And We already know that Sonny is struggling with giving up home runs again this season. He's just 2 away from tying his career high in home runs given up with 21, and we're still in August. So that record's going to fall, I'm sure. Might happen tonight in this particular game. Friday, you got Miles Mikolas against Adrian Hauser. That's more home run fuel for the Rays there because Miles Mikolas likes to give up home runs. Well, he doesn't like it, but it happens when Miles Mikolas is on the mound. So he better be on his A game because he misses anything over the plate. They're going over the wall, I'm telling you. Then the teams are off on Saturday, and we'll resume the series on Sunday with Matthew Liberatore against Ryan Pepio. It's been the Rays are a team that they were in this thing for a while. I haven't even looked up the standing. Let me check this out real quick because I hadn't really looked up the standings on where they were because they fell out of contention pretty like when the second half came around. Things were not going well for Tampa Bay. Let's see where are we at here with them. The Rays are currently 61 and 66. Yeah, they're 12 and a half back in the AL East. They're 6.5 back in a wild card. So similar spot where the Cardinals are right now, where they're not really being talked about much anymore. But it's still a team that I have enjoyed watching because I like the way they play ball and they play the game. Junior Caminero is a superstar in the making. He's a superstar now. Dude just hits tanks. He's got 35 jacks already this season. Watch out for him. Brandon Lowe is a beast of a hitter over there at second base. Yandy Diaz, incredibly solid hitter. He's one of those contact hitters that's just constantly putting the ball in play. Apparently, they're also calling up their top prospect, Carson Williams. He's a shortstop, ranked number 47 overall by MLB Pipeline. So they might have a little extra juice because he's in the lineup tonight. He's got some pop, really good defensive glove. He was one of those guys on MLB The Show when it first started in Diamond Dynasty, and he was one of the prospects that you were able to get your hands on, and he was the one everybody was using. Either at shortstop or second base, along with J.J. Weatherholt of the Cardinals. So be fun to see him take his first cuts at the major league level. But the Rays have lost 3 in a row. They just got blasted by the Yankees a couple nights in a row. The Yankees offense went nuts on them on, what was that, Tuesday night? Yeah, Tuesday night, hit 9 home runs against them. Like, I'm telling you, the ballpark is crazy. You're going to see some offense. That's what I would expect. I would be shocked if we get any pitchers duels in these 3 games. Like the ball just takes off at this ballpark. So, it's a minor league stadium. So that's normally how it works. So should be fun to watch. Let's hope the Cardinals can come away with at least 2 out of 3. I would love to put this shirt back on Sunday night when we record Monday's show. So hopefully that's something that'll happen. So looking forward to it. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily